Hi guys, Elle here. I'm super excited to review this deck, the Hermes Playing Card Oracle by Robert M. Place, the master. Love that dude. So this deck came out just this past year, and it is such a unique and fascinating deck. First of all, it is like right up my alley. It sort of encompasses a lot of different things that I'm really interested in. One of which is just regular playing card divination, and all the folk traditions and the classic cartomancy that surrounds it. And then I also enjoy studying and learning and using different kinds of like playing card oracles or playing card decks. And I would include Lenormand in that, and Sibylla decks, and all the different things from around the same time. And I like trying to sort of combine them and learn the different folk traditions that are sort of associated with each one, like seeing how Sibyllas fit with Lenormand and. So if you have an interest in any of those things, you are probably going to find this deck like utterly fascinating. So what it is, I'm going to show you the box while I talk. What it is a 54 card deck. It's your standard classic 52 card deck plus the 2 jokers. Look at that, it comes with the seal. When you open it, you break the seal. Isn't that cool? Hermes Publications is how Robert M. Place like self-publishes all his decks, or his publishing company, I guess you could say. That's what the backs of the cards look like. They're not fully reversible, but more or less. Aren't they beautiful? Yeah, that's the box there. Very cool. Actually, here's a little white book. The Hermes Playing Card Oracle. And he goes through a little bit about the Oracle here, about the deck. He even mentions here, although the tarot is the deck that most people today would associate with divination, historically regular 4-suit decks of playing cards were more likely to have been used for this purpose. I am, by the way, of the school of thought that the original, like the oldest deck of cards, was actually probably a tarot deck, like a deck that included the major arcana. We have like sheets and things going back really far, like that's, I know, there's no historical proof, but I believe this, shush. He talks about Lenormand decks and what they are and how this deck works, which I'll explain to you in just a second. And then he goes through very briefly the meanings of all the cards. It's just a few pages, just a few keywords. And there's no spread, but I believe he talks about in the beginning like a grand tableau pattern is sort of explained in here, yeah. But that's it, very brief, very still good little white book. So anyway, what the deck is it's a classic playing card deck. It looks like a playing card deck, and there are these like divinatory images on each card, just something small in most cases. So if you are like a person who divines with playing cards, you're going to use the entire deck. If you're a person that uses Lenormand, this deck is definitely specifically designed for you guys too, because if you remove the 2s through the 5s from each suit and the jokers, you are left with like a classic Lenormand deck. The images that he chose to put on each of his playing cards from the 2s to the 5 are the same as you would find in a Lenormand deck, and all the other cards are sort of this interesting combination, from what I could tell anyway, of his own interpretations and pulled from other sort of classic sources. I could see all these connections to other systems of divination. It's really cool what he's done. And on top of it, all of the images that he chose to put on each card are very simple. So even if you don't adhere to a Lenormand interpretation of the Ace of Clubs or something, you know, if that's not really your thing, the image is so simple that it can be interpreted sort of any way you wanted to go with it, and that's what I found myself doing with this deck. I really think that the most interesting part of reading Lenormand is the playing card association. At least that's what it is for me. That's how I relay it back to my tarot knowledge. You know, it's almost like with a Lenormand deck or with a playing card deck or anything where it's like you've just removed the major arcana. In the case of a Piquet deck or a Lenormand deck, you've removed half of the minor arcana also. But, you know, in that case, it feels to me like you've just removed the major arcana. You've taken the spirituality out of it, and that's okay. What you end up doing then is pulling your attention to this sphere of like worldly concerns, you know, and then your readings become a little bit more fortune telling, like, you know, a little bit more like this classic cartomancy or this folk method of reading. And that is exactly the style that you see in Lenormand readings. That's how you read Lenormand cards, and that's how most people interpret with their playing cards and with Sibylla cards. So the whole thing, it sort of makes sense. I don't think it needs to be completely disconnected from how we read tarot, though. I think it's just a more practical interpretation of the same thing. You're still dealing with the Six of Wands or the Six of Clubs, you know? It's there in the tarot, and it's there in the playing card, and it's even there in your Lenormand decks. Anyway, that was a rant. That was a side note. Let's look at this beautiful deck. It's cool in this deck, though, that, you know, the playing card is the focal point. It's almost like, all right, here, draw your attention more to the number and the suit, like a pip card in a Marseille deck, you know, draw your attention there, you know, not as much as to the image that I put on the card. It's almost like what's being said, and I love that. I love that idea. All right, here's the backs of the cards again. If they are upright, Hermes here, Mercury, is looking to the right. If they are reversed, he is looking to the left. And there is a little copyright. Can you see that? It's actually on the, if they were upright, it's actually in the lower right-hand corner, that little copyright. I can't even friggin' read it. It says copyright RM place. There we go. So while the backs are not like fully reversible, they are, you know, one of those things that don't jump out at you, so it's okay in my book. I like it. I like that it looks like a classic, like a bicycle playing card or something like that. And actually, I misspoke in some video a while back. I don't remember which one it was. I think I called these cards, like, it must have been my collection, whatever. I think I called the cards plastic, and they're actually they are in my head almost. They have this plasticky kind of a feel to it, but they are not plastic. They are paper, and they're just very, very coated. Can you see how, there we go, how reflective they are? They're even like textured, and it's great. They're really good quality. They're still very easy to shuffle with, but not quite as bendy as like a regular deck of playing cards. Okay, here's your images. It has that classic Robert M. Place kind of artwork look to it. So this is an ace, so the image is much bigger. On all the aces, the central image is much larger, and it almost does become the focal point of the card. But it's an ace, so that's cool. So this being an ace, this is also your the lady card, or your significator card, your Ace of Spades in your Lenormand deck. This is also the only card, can you see that has like a really large copyright on it? Maybe because it's like the first card or the significator or whatever, but he did do that. All the other cards do have a smaller copyright on the fronts of them also. He really did put a lot of copyrights on these cards, huh? There you go. Now it's really teensy tiny and it doesn't jump out at you at all. It's almost nice to have because it just lets you know real quick too when things are reversed, because some things aren't as obvious as others. So this is one of those cards where from here through the fives, it's going to be, you know, not no Lenormand associations, obviously, because this isn't in your Lenormand decks. This would be sort of like your Two of Swords from your tarot card. So see, now in your classic like Lenormand decks, this playing card that you see taking up the entire card would just be like a little thing up here, like the size of that spade almost, and then it would be this big image taking up the entirety of the card. Instead, it's just sort of flip-flopped in this deck. It's reversed, and I love where it draws your attention. It's great. For a lot of people in their playing card divination, this can have a lot to do with fights or disputes. It's one of those cards where the tarot card can be very similar. Oh, this is a cool one. This is your three of spades, obviously. I love that he chose to go with a B on here. This card can have a lot to do with like an injury, you know, or a wound or something. And at least that's what it does for me, and it's different for lots of people. Playing card meanings are one of those things that it's so broad. It's even more broad than like tarot card meanings. At least in the tarot, it's almost like, all right, we'll start with the Rider-Waite-Smith and then we'll kind of go from there. that doesn't really exist in playing card divination, in playing card and Sibylla divination, all of them. I know I just keep saying the same few types. Those are the ones I'm into. I know there's lots more out there. Isn't that great? So you see what I mean about like the focal point of the card, like it looks like a playing card, and then you just have this great little image in there. The Four of Spades is Hermes. I'm not going to give interpretations for them all. Actually, even all the fours are like gods or like archetypes, or all the fives are all animals too, like a pig and a cat and a lion. Five of Spades. Six of Spades is your tower. There's the next few cards will all be will have your classic Lenormand images on it. Remember, this is the Tower in Lenormand, not the Tower in the Major Arcana. This is like having a deck without the Major Arcana. There can be some overlap in the meanings and stuff, but there's your garden on your Eight of Spades. But isn't that cool? I think a lot of people have a hard time remembering Lenormand meanings, and they just completely disassociate from the playing card that is associated with it, and that can tell you so much about the card. That may even be sort of why I actually very rarely use this as a Lenormand deck. I like using the whole thing. Your anchor, your ship. But that may be why I don't love Lenormand. I feel like it's only part of a system. I feel like you're just missing cards. A playing card, even though it's sort of half of the tarot, it feels like a complete system to me. You know, everything gets covered here in the Minor Arcana. Even the fact that you don't have four court cards doesn't bother me. You know, the page and the knight sort of get combined into one, into my jack here, and all is well. Here is your male significator, or the gentleman card, your Ace of Hearts, your Two of Hearts, your Three of Hearts, so your Three of Cups this would be. Here's your Four with like a Cupid figure. I just love his artwork. It's so simple. These are the kind of decks that are just so fun to read with, where it's like basically a pip card, but you get a little pop of fun. Your Six of Hearts, the Star, the Path. Seven of Hearts is your Tree. Eight of Hearts is your Moon. Nine of Hearts is the Rider. 10 of Hearts, the Dog. Whoop. Aren't the court cards really done beautifully too? They are reversible. By the way, the Lenormand figure or the Lenormand image is on the side of the guy here, in every card. So this is your heart. And then the Queen of Hearts, you have your stork. There it is. The King of Hearts is the house. There it is. I love that king. He looks like Thor. He's so cool. The coloring on the cards is just beautiful too. And there's another large ace. You have your ring as the Ace of Spades. I gotta say, the only thing that I do find a little bit, I'm like really used to it now, so it doesn't bother me, but the spades are sort of pointed at the top, so it's very easy to kind of get a little confused at first glance between the spades and the clubs. Even the hearts, actually, can you see that they have this point? They're very, very pointy, so they almost do look like the diamonds. It's really not a big deal, but, and they're actually, you know, I actually like the stylized look that it creates, though. It's very pleasing to the eye. And your Two of Clubs. Have the eye right in the center. So good. And then your Three of Clubs, this like thunder and lightning scene, which differs. You know, you have a card called Clouds, right? But this is different. Has a different meaning. I even like that he only sort of gives you, you know, keyword meanings in the book too, in the little white book. It lets you just do your own thing with this, you know? See how things come up, use your own defined meanings. And your cross for the Six of Clubs. The mouse or the mice. The mountain is the Eight of Clubs or the Eight of Wands. You know, this deck, it helped me understand Lenormand better. I can understand the meaning of the mountain now because I can relate it to my other meanings for this card so much easier. I like seeing the number and the suit. It tells you so much. Nine of Clubs is your fox. Whoop. 10 of Clubs is the bear. And the whip for the jack. The snake for the queen. And the clouds for the king. All right, our last suit here. This is the Ace of Diamonds, your sun card. Not the sun from the Major Arcana. I like this as a quiet candle. Luck with your horseshoe for the Three of Diamonds. Four of Diamonds is a depiction of Fortuna, who you'll recognize probably from like Robert and Play stuff. Beautiful. The Five of Diamonds is a little piggy. And then your Clover in the 6. Your Lenormand cards. The birds at 7. The key is the 8 of Diamonds. Your coffin. It lets all these other aspects of playing card divination come into the mix, into your Lenormand readings, if that's what you're going to do. Your Queen of Diamonds, the ways. Can you see it back there? There's your ways. And the fish for the King of Diamonds. All right, here are your two amazing jokers also. The other thing that I absolutely love about this deck is that he gives you one male joker and one female joker. So if you are gay, like me, and you do your tarot readings, or excuse me, really like the Norman readings, or readings where, or decks that utilize, you know, certain significator cards, and there's like one male and one female, it's not like you can't do a reading for yourself or for other gay people, you know, it still fucking works. But shit like this is nice to have. So you could, you know, you could theoretically replace things with another female card or with another male card, or just, you know, keep them in your deck. I like to just keep them in there. Or if you're doing something where you need, you know, two female significators for, it's here. He even says in his little white book, this is what he has to say about the female joker. It can be an unexpected event or a surprise. And then in parentheses, he has, this card may function as the love interest for a lesbian subject or another woman in a love triangle or any other woman of interest. And then the same goes for the male joker, an unexpected event or a surprise. And this card may function as the love interest for a gay subject, as another man in a love triangle or any other man of interest. So as a lesbian woman of interest, I very much appreciate that. I think these are fantastic. I didn't bring a tarot deck to compare the size to, but they're regular, like poker-sized playing cards. So the spread that Robert M. Place, you know, has in his little white book is basically a grand tableau, and, you know, in a Lenormand reading with 36 cards, you would go about things a little bit differently, and you could absolutely, you know, not use the rest of the deck here. But in a 54 card deck, if you're going to use the jokers too, which I highly recommend, and you want to still do a grand tableau, it's a lot of cards. It's like 6 rows of 9 is what you end up with. So it would make for a huge, huge spread. But you can use these cards and read however you want. Use whatever spread you want. I've been liking 3 rows of 7, actually. Has been working really, really nicely for me. But you have to decide how you want to go about utilizing, you know, things like significator cards and stuff like that. See, I actually do, it's very hard to bridge with this deck because the cards are a little bit smaller, like poker size, but they're also very thick. They riffle shuffle no problem, but I have a bit of a hard time bending them enough to bridge. So I don't really bridge with them except to bend them back a little bit. You know, but other than that, they shuffle really, really great. And seriously, this has become like just an invaluable study deck for me and a really, really fun deck to use. If anybody else out there is as enthralled with this fucking deck as I am, please let me know. I'd love to hear how you guys go about working with it too, if you use it as a Lenormand, and what you think about it as a Lenormand, since I can't really speak to that. What I am enjoying, though, is sort of integrating this Lenormand understanding of that particular card into my overall understanding of that playing card. All right, hope that made sense. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Bye.